how Mark Cuban spends his $4.2 billion. And the award for the largest ever online purchase goes to Mark Cuban. The businessman, investor, and Dallas Mavericks owner is one of the wealthiest people in America. Actually, he's one of the richest people on earth. With a net worth of $4.1 billion, he can buy whatever he wants when he wants, and that goes for everything from French chateau to private jets, Vegas mega parties, and super expensive cars. These days, the incredibly successful entrepreneur has more money than any one person could spend, but getting to this point wasn't easy. So how did the billionaire rise to the ranks? How does he spend his cash? Let's find out. But before we dive all into the Cuban world of fame and fashion, please do like our video and subscribe to our channel. Okay, let's go. How did the Pennsylvanian-born businessman move from zero to hero? How did he transition from selling garbage bags door to door at the age of 12 to owning an entire basketball team and an enormous business empire? Before making it big, Cuban had to scramble. He chose to study at Indiana's Kelley School of Business without even visiting the campus because it was the cheapest. He lived on mac and cheese and had multiple roommates to save money. From that point, it was a long, tedious move to the top, but the great man put his success down to one thing: hard work. He went 7 years without a vacation, stayed up late eating a bucket full of chicken wings, teaching himself how to code. He regularly describes himself as a grinder and go-getter. With a history of establishing successful business like HDNet, Broadcast.com, and MicroSolution, he has clearly done something right. It was a lottery that proved to be the business spark Cuban needed to get the ground running. MicroSolution quickly grew to $30 million in revenue, and in 1990, Cuban sold it for $6 million, making $2 million after taxes for himself. 9 years later, the millionaire became a billionaire when he and his co-founders sold the Broadcast.com venture to Yahoo for $5.7 billion worth of stock. The timing was perfect. Cuban cashed in his Yahoo shares when the company was sitting on an all-time high reportedly for over $1 billion. Less than a year later, the dot-com bubble that burst and Yahoo stock prices crashed to all-time lowest, but Cuban didn't care. He had been fortunate and strategic enough to cash in early. Now with $1 billion check in his hand, the world was his playground. The very first thing that Cuban did was round up some of his drinking buddies and flew to no other place but Sin City, Las Vegas. As he told the New York Times, "We just drank ourselves into a stupor. They were partying like no tomorrow." When the hangover had worn off, Mark get off for a vacation at the Bahamas with his then girlfriend and now wife of 18 years, Tiffany Stewart. Post-vacation and post-Vegas, the first big purchase came in the form of a snazzy piece of real estate. At the end of 1999, Cuban spent a whopping $13 million, that's the equivalent of about $20 million by today's standards, on this stunning 24,000 square foot French chateau-style mansion. While some of the world's billionaires buy and sell in no time when boredom sets in, Mark and his family have continued to live in this home since they bought it. The palace features 10 beautiful rooms and 16 bathrooms, checked out with all the gizmos and gadgets you could ever need. There is a spa, a huge pool, a wine cellar, and a tennis court. All up, it sits on 7 acres of land with a backyard almost big enough to have its own zip code. While the Dallas Palace is Mark's most notable property, it is not his only one. In December 2018, the entrepreneur bought this expensive mansion in Laguna Beach, California for $19 million. Totaling 7,867 square feet, the home sports 6 bedrooms and 10 bathrooms, all of which are decked out with old art decor and works and bright painting jobs. The Pacific Ocean views from the infinity pool are truly spectacular, as are the tech features scattered around every corner of the property. Back in 2006, Mark bought yet another place, this glass warehouse overlooking the Allegheny River in downtown Pittsburgh. He paid $6.85 million for the 168,000 square foot property, but decided to offload the 9th-floor story building over a decade later as it sat vacant for years. The glass warehouse certainly wasn't Cuban's wisest purchase. Fortunately, he has got enough cash in the bank for it to not really matter. Yet if you were to ask him about his dumbest purchase to date, this is what he would tell you. The dumbest, let's see if I could remember them. I could list you a couple of 100 bar tabs with my buddies. On the flip side, he is more than happy to gloat about his smartest purchase. A $40 million, it sets the record for the most expensive e-commerce purchase in history. In his own words, a plane, it is obviously brutally expensive, but time is the one asset we simply don't own. It saves me hours and hours. The plane in question is the ultra-expensive Gulfstream V business jet. To this day, the 1999 purchase holds the Guinness Book of Records title for the largest ever single e-commerce transaction. Believe it or not, Cuban hadn't even seen the plane in person before sending over the money. He simply researched Gulfstream's website and then arranged the purchase by email. However, considering he has regularly declared that buying a private jet was his all-time goal, it was an easy decision. If Mark Cuban values one asset above all others, it is time and having access to a private jet. Despite all the hundreds of thousands of yearly fuel and staff costs, it saves him a lot of time. He uses it to travel around the entire of the US for business as well as a few international vacations with the family. Just a few weeks after buying that time-saving money-burning jet, Cuban made an even bigger purchase, his most famous to date, the Dallas Mavericks NBA team. When he signed on the dotted line back in February of 2000, he paid just $285 million for the majority stake. Since then, the squad has gone on to win an NBA championship in 2011, which has skyrocketed their value up to nearly $2.3 billion. That's a pretty good investment, yikes. Although Mark never thought of it that way, to him it was a passionate purchase. He simply loved basketball and was a huge Mavericks fan. As the years have passed, the Mavericks' expenses under Cuban have increased. He has even been fined a crazy 13 times for critical statements about the league and the referees, forced to pay about $1.6 million in sanctions as a result. On top of that, he spent $36 million to buy the team a Boeing 757 jet plus millions more to upgrade the arena's jumbotron and locker rooms. Basketball is not his only sport. Cuban shows interest in buying multiple major basketball teams, but hasn't pulled through just yet because as a business tycoon, Mark has got a lot on his plate already. He has spent millions of dollars creating and running his long list of companies. That includes 2929 Entertainment, which is his media production house, founded in 2003 alongside fellow billionaire Todd Wagner. The production company has released films like George Clooney's Goodnight and Good Luck on Steven Stattenberg's The Girlfriend Experience, just to name a few. Outside of the TV industry, Cuban holds an eye-popping $1 billion worth of Amazon stock, as well as stakes in hundreds of emerging lesser-known companies, thanks to his fascinating Shark Tank investments. As we've mentioned, Mark wasn't born into wealth. He has worked hard to achieve his success, and his contrasting car collection is proof of exactly that. In his youth, Cuban cruised around his 1966 Buick LeSabre, which cost less than $200, and thereafter, a Fiat X19. His modern-day garage is packed full of supercars and luxury wheels, highlighted by the $1.5 million Mercedes-Benz S600 Pullman Guard limousine, which is his preferred car for the daily commute. There is also the very rare vintage 1955 Ford Custom line. If he's bored of the roads, he could always opt to take a few days to chill on the Fountainhead, a 288-foot yacht. Though Cuban doesn't technically own his marine beautiful piece of machinery, he has been spotted sailing on it before. The $138 million boat actually belongs to billionaire Eddie Lampert, who likes to tell people that Cuban is the real owner. Either way, when Mark is on board, he is living la vida loca. Although Mark is typically intense, upfront, and driven, he still holds a reputation for being incredibly kind and selfless. Traditionally, his money is used for investment purposes, supporting everyone from local bakers to upcoming tech geniuses on Shark Tank, but he's also renowned for his charity contributions. In June 2015, Cuban made a $5 million donation to Indiana University at Bloomington, which went towards building the Mark Cuban Center for Sports, Media and Technology. Following degrading allegations of league-wide misconduct in the NBA, Mark wanted to make a positive change, so he pledged to donate $10 million to organizations that promoted women leadership roles that combat domestic violence. Then earlier in 2020, alongside basketballers Luka Doncic and Dwight Powell, Cuban contributed $500 to the University of Texas Southwestern Medical Center in Pawcott Hospital, donating to so many foundations and charities. It is clear that he's putting his money to good use. So we have private planes, selfless donations, sport teams, and luxury cars, but when Mark was asked to choose the single best thing about being so unfathomably rich, here is what he had to say. Being able to do what I am damn well pleased in. Well, you're right about that, Mark. Hands up for you, boss. What is the first thing you would do if you woke up tomorrow with Mark Cuban's money? Let us know in the comment section and don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel.